Excellent. So once again, I would like to welcome you all to the Beautiful Mentoring Program. And today is going to be the last session or last session for this for cohort 1. And today we are going to be talking about a topic, though not in details, because today is our graduation day. So we're going to be doing 2 things. And one, the graduation is going to be the last aspect of what we're going to be doing today. But today, to end our cohort, we are going to be looking a little bit into leadership. And I do believe that you are all potential leaders. We are trying to raise you all girls to be great leaders because we see potentials in you, we believe in you. You are our leaders of tomorrow. You are our future. You are the ones that will be making decisions or calling the shots in years very soon. All right, so it's important that we prepare you for the leaders that you have been ordained to be, okay? So the question now is, what is leadership? And I think I'm gonna be sharing my slide so that I can, okay, let's see. It's gonna be a little bit more interactive to have this section, so let me share my screen, this one. Okay, excellent. And I will move this to this section here. Okay, actually, this goes here. Just bear with me. Just trying to arrange my stuff. Okay. Okay, this moves over here. Awesome. Okay, perfect. So I will go to this. This is a leadership program that will be starting for the older ones very soon next year. So I am going to, that's why you see the first slide there. You guys can see my slide. If you can see my slide, please, can you give me a thumbs up or you can drop a 1 on the chat? Okay, excellent, thank you. So today we are going to be talking about leadership, and that's going to be our last topic for this cohort 1. So when you think about leadership, what comes to mind? When you hear the word leadership, what comes to mind? You can type in the chat, you can unmute yourself and speak. When you hear the word leadership, what comes to mind? You can unmute yourself and speak. I don't think I see anybody putting anything in the chat.
Trying to guide people in a way.
Guiding people, excellent. What else comes to mind? When you hear the word leadership, what else comes to mind? I'm going to give you a little bit of extra with my next slide. So you can look at the slide, you can see the answers there. So what comes to mind when you hear the word leadership? The answers are just tell me what you can see on the screen. So what are some of the words that you can see on the screen?
Responsibility.
Responsibility. So you are responsible for a group of people or a group of, a group of people, an organization. Excellent. What else do you see on the screen, Sarah? Sarah, what do you see on the screen? What word any word that you see on the screen?
Skill.
Skills, excellent. You have to have great leadership skills to be able to lead a group of people. Awesome. Valerie, what do you see on the screen? Valerie, are you with us?
I see like kind of like what Sarah said, skills and things that you like grow up with, kind of.
Yeah, skills. Awesome. So more of the words we see on the screen: management. Leadership is about managing people. Competence, you have to be able to be competent to be a leader. Team. Leadership is about teamwork because you're going to lead a team. You lead a group of people called a team. Leadership is about integrity. You need to have integrity to be able to effectively lead people. Wisdom, you have to have the wisdom to be able to lead people. Vision, effective leaders cast visions. They are visionaries, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it. Inspiring, leaders inspire people. All right, you inspire people to do things. You can even inspire people to do things, good things that they don't really want to do. Confidence, you have to be able to have a confidence to be a leader. So if you're having challenges with your confidence level, you have to develop confidence. And that's why one of our workshops, we talked about self-confidence, to be able to lead people properly. Experience, of course, for you to be able to lead people, you must have gone to that place. You do not lead people where you have not been, because you cannot give what you do not have. So you lead people based on your experience that you have had, all right? Honesty, that is one of the attributes of a good leader. You need to be honest, and people love honest leaders. Sincerity, close to honesty. Yes, you have to be a sincere person when dealing with your organization. Achieve, of course, you guys have a goal in mind that you want to achieve. So leaders want to achieve a goal that they inspire others to work along with them so they can achieve it. What did I want to do? Empowerment. Yes, leaders empower people. All right, so leadership is about empowering people to be able to do things. You can even empower people that do not that feel like they do not have what it takes to do what you're asking them to do. You can empower them, and then they're able to do it. Business, yes, of course, in business, you can see we have lots of leadership. It's leaders that lead organizations, that lead companies. Then what other word do we see? I think we've covered most of the word that we can see here. So now the question now is, what is leadership? So can somebody just try to define leadership based on some of the things that we have talked about here? Anyone? What do you think leadership is? I've said a little bit. Yeah, Lama, go ahead, darling.
I think it's also about like team. Like in a team, there's also a leader in there.
In a team, there's a leader?
Yeah.
Of course, yes. Thank you, darling. Yes. Every team should have a leader. If everybody is calling the shots in a team, then that team is going to have challenges. And that's why you see a lot of teams you hear about having chaos. Yes, because they cannot be, there's this proverb, idiomatic expression that says that there cannot be two captains in a boat. And that is true. There have to be one leader for things to move forward. The leader does not mean that she knows all or he knows all. No, a leader is not a person that knows everything. But the job of a leader is that you're able to bring together all the giftings and the talents of the people in your team, use it to be able to help that team succeed and move forward. So there has to be one person, just like we don't have two heads. Have you ever seen any man or woman that has two heads? No, if that person has two heads, what do you think that person will look like? You have to unmute yourself, Aurel, because I know you're talking, but I can't hear you. Yeah.
Oh, I said that would be a very odd person.
And what, there's a word people used to describe that. What word do you think that is? A monster. Have you ever seen a monster? Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you see a human being with two heads, that person looks like a monster, because that's not a real human being. So also any organization, any team that has two heads, of course, monsters, what they do, they cannot lead properly, they destroy. So that's what happens. And that's why they cannot be two captains in the boat. They have to be one leadership and one leader in a team. So leadership is a process of social influence. So it maximizes the efforts of others towards achieving the goal of that company or that organization or that team. I like the way Wikipedia defined it. like Wikipedia defined it as a research area and also a practical skill that encompasses the ability of an individual, so a group of organization, to lead, influence, or guide other individuals, teams, or entire organization, like Ulama mentioned the word guide earlier on. So basically, leadership is about practicing, or there is a practice of positively influencing people. So we're talking about positively influencing people. In other words, leaders help others people's life become better. Okay. Now the question is, what is influence? Can anybody try? Now that we've defined what leadership is, what is influence? What do you think influence means? Has anybody influenced you before, or have you influenced anybody before?
I think it's like mimicking what other people do, kind of.
Mimicking? Yes, that means you are being influenced, right? Yes, that's influence. So in life, it's either you influence other people or they influence you. So leaders influence other people. Followers are being influenced by the leader. Okay, so influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character development, the behavior of someone or something. So in other words, you have an effect, and that is why we talk about friends influencing you. And as I encourage you to have good friends, because good friends will always influence you. They influence your lifestyle, they influence how you talk, they influence what you do. All right, even not only human beings, not only living influence or living things like your friends or your parents or your people around you, even the things that you watch. Television influences us. It influences how we feel. It influences what we think. Eventually influences. That's why you hear some people, after they finish watching movies with bad words, you hear them start cursing. Why? Because that movie has influenced them. That thing they've watched has influenced them. Some books influence you. If you read a bad book, a negative book, it will influence you. You start thinking along the line of that book. You start acting based on that thing that you've read. And that's why we always encourage young people. Choose what you watch. Choose what you listen to. Choose where you go. You have to do these things on purpose for you to be able to have an effective, victorious, good life. You have to watch on purpose, whatever you watch on TV, on purpose. TikTok, whatever you watch on TikTok, on purpose. Choose it wisely. Whatever you watch on your Instagram, please choose wisely. Whatever you listen to, the music that you listen to, be wise about it. Live your life on purpose. If you want to live an effective, good life, it has to be on purpose. You got to choose, because out there in the world, so many things are thrown at you, so many things, garbage, good things, everything all mixed up together. So now it calls for wisdom on your part to be able to choose what you want to invest your time watching, listening to. Not everything on TikTok you're going to listen to, because it's going to affect the way you think. It's going to affect how you talk. It's going to affect how you behave. All right. So that's the power of influence, which I believe we'll be talking about in another day, because it's a big topic that we really have to really talk about in detail. So that's not, I'm only going to be restricting to leadership today, because that's what we're going to be, where we're talking about leadership. So leadership is about influencing people. It's about making people do things. So that's why we encourage positive influence. Leadership is about positive influence, encouraging people to do things ordinarily that they feel that they cannot do, as far as it helps make them better. So that's what leadership is about. There's a leadership expert, Dwight, that defines it. He said, leadership is the art of getting someone else to do something you want done because they want to do it. So in other words, you do not force them to do it, but they do it because they want to do it. That's what influence is about. Influence is not about control. So that's what the next thing is that we're going to talk about, what leadership is not. Leadership, like we've defined, is influence, basically. Practicing positive influence. In summary, that's what it is. Influencing other people, influencing a group of people, influencing your team. That's what leadership is about. But leadership is not about commanding authority. All right. So oftentimes the CEOs of companies like the McDonald's or the Apple or you name all the companies out there, those CEOs, they gain followers not because they are the top of the food chain, not because they are CEOs. You become a leader or people respect your leadership or people follow you because they respect you. They respect your values. They respect what you represent. They respect how you conduct yourself. They respect what you do. Okay? It's about admiration. They admire you for being the person, the kind of woman that you are, a kind of girl that you are, a kind of lady that you are. Because you have good character. They admire the values that you represent and who you really are. These are the things that command people to follow you, not necessarily commanded, not out of fear. If people follow you out of fear, then that's no longer leadership. You're not influencing them. They're only there maybe because of their paycheck. Of course, in most companies, people go there just because of a paycheck, not because you're paying them. But that's not really leadership. That's not influencing people. So it's also loyalty. People are loyal to you as a leader, not because you are the CEO of that company, but because of your values. Okay, so these things, these attributes, this respect, admiration, loyalty, they are earned based on how well you serve them. So leadership is about serving other people. It's not about, oh, I am the boss, I am the CEO, I'm going to sit down and call the shot and command people to do things. No. Leadership is about finding out how can I serve somebody? How can I make somebody's life better? Okay? Apple, we use computers today. Thank God, due to technology, we're able to, because we cannot meet face-to-face due to lots of restrictions, we're able to do this through the internet. Why? Somebody thought about, how can I serve somebody? How can I make somebody's life better? So there are so many aspects of leadership. But oftentimes, most leaders want to be leaders, most good leaders want to be leaders because they want to solve a problem. So leaders love to solve problems. They find a problem and they want to provide a solution to that. When you serve people, they are bound to follow you. So leadership is not about commanding authority, but it's about serving. Great leaders start creating influence by clearly communicating. So you have to communicate what you want to do, promote it, and work towards achieving a cause. Apple, I give as an example, the CEO of Apple. I'm sure he wanted to find a way to make sure that people are able to communicate properly or things like that. And he thought about, what can I do? And he had an idea, he cast a vision, but he has to communicate the vision to his team. If he didn't communicate the vision to his team, there's just no how all of them could have come together and created this Apple thing that we're using, this Apple computer or iPhone or whatever, all these gadgets that we're using. He had to communicate that vision. So the leader has the vision and he's able to communicate the vision. She's able to communicate that vision and also promote that vision and also work towards it. So not only can you communicate it, not only you also have to act on it. So a leader has to also do what they want other people to do. So that's the difference between a leader and a boss. If you want to be a good leader, you have to be the first person to do that and lead by example. There's an example of somebody once told me that the CEO of Chick-fil-A, that he still directly interacts with his customers just to show his team members what he expects from them. And some of you know that we have an organization here, we have a food bank here. The executive director and I, and our whole team, we are always seven, the whole leadership, we're always seven, finding ways. You see us sweeping and carrying things around and all that stuff, just to show our team that this is what it's about, 7 people. I mean, we could have just sat down and crossed our legs and tell the people you do this and do that. No, you have to start doing it yourself. Show them how to do it. Lead by examples. Good leaders lead by example. You start doing it and other people follow you. Good leaders lead by example. Awesome. All right. So another thing that leadership is not is it's not management. There is a difference between leadership and managing. There's a difference between leaders and managers. All right. Oftentimes people confuse the two of them together. Okay, so there is a big difference, and the difference is that the difference between leadership and managers is that according to Peter, a leadership expert, he explained management as doing things right, while leadership is doing the right things. So oftentimes leaders are the ones, they cast the vision. All right, they cast the vision, they influence the people, but managers, what they do is that they make sure that the whatever vision has been cast, it's carried out properly. So leaders are responsible for casting a vision. They're responsible for strategizing on the organization's direction and motivating their teams to achieve the organization's objective or goal. Managers, they don't need to inspire, be the source of inspiration. So they don't need to do all those motivational speech. So that's the difference between the two of them. All right. So what they do is that they make sure that they carry out, they do activities that carry out the activities that help the vision to come into fruition. Okay. So things like they plan, they direct people, they are the ones that are responsible for delegating the responsibility and also supervising. Supervisors are managers or monitoring what the people do. So leadership is not management. All right. So remember, it's about inspiration. It's about motivating people. Then another thing I want to let you know about leadership, I know we're not going to say everything about leadership, I'm just like trying to pick here and there, okay, is that there's no one size fits it all. All right, because I don't know if you've heard it before, but there are different styles of leadership, which we'll be talking about if we get an opportunity another time. There are different styles of leadership. So oftentimes great leaders, the best leaders, they don't just use one leadership style. Okay, so they are skilled at different leadership. They have different leadership styles, and then what they do is that they have the flexibility to choose between those styles depending on the group of people that they are leading. So in other words, your leadership style is mostly based on the group of people that you're leading. And having said that, we are going to jump into, having said it depends on the group of people, we are going to look into briefly the different kinds of people that we have. Okay, and when we talk about that, we're talking about leadership dynamics and group dynamics. So I'm going to talk about it briefly. Okay, so leadership dynamics refers to it's when a leader manages the interpersonal conflict appropriately, recognizing how relationships within groups change and accordingly adapts personal leadership styles. So in other words, the people, you're dealing with people, you're not dealing with sticks. All right. And these people, they have their different attributes, different characteristics, so many things influences them, who they really are. All right. So, and every group have, because people are different, every group has different, the component of a group is based on the people in that group. So every group is different because the people in that group are different. So that's why the leadership styles are different. You're not going to use this one leadership style I use for one group. It's not the same leadership they're going to use for another group because there are different people in those groups. So you need to be able to understand those people in your group for you to be able to lead them. That's where leadership dynamics comes into play. And what we're going to be focusing on is group dynamics, not in detail, because what is group dynamics? It refers to the attitudes and the behaviors of the people in the group. Okay. Group dynamics refers to the attitude and the behavior of people in your group. Now, who are the people? And that's what I am going to briefly talk about for the next 15 minutes. We're going to look at the different types of people that we do have. Okay. Now, if you realize, I'm just taking it a little bit because I want you to understand a little bit about leadership. So I defined what leadership is. I told you what leadership is not. Okay. Now we're going into the different, not in details, but letting you know that there are different types of leadership. So a good leader will always know who the people in her group or in his group to be able to know how to lead them. Now, for you to be able to know those people brings us to the word temperament. Has anybody heard of the word temperament before? If you've heard about the word temperament, you can give me a raise of hand or you can drop it on the chat. Wait, yeah, okay, yeah, Ulama, excellent. Okay, so what is temperament?
I don't know what it means, but I've
Oh, you've heard of that before. Excellent. All right, thank you. So in psychology, temperament refers to consistent individual differences in behavior that are biological based and are relatively independent of the learning system and values and attitude. That's Wikipedia definition, but I'm going to go bring it home to you so you're going to understand it a little bit more. So temperament provides both our strengths and our weaknesses. It is not your character. It is totally different from your character, right? Basically, what I'm going to be talking about temperament is based on, there's this guy, Tim LaHaye. He wrote a book about temperament, and I will suggest you go read that book, okay? Because he goes into details to talk about the different temperaments people do have. So it helps you understand people. As a leader, very, very important for you to even understand people. If you don't understand people, it will be hard for you to be able to lead them properly. Okay, so you need to understand people, and that's why I choose this first class that I will mention that to you. Okay, so temperament basically, it is the combination of your inborn traits. Okay, and this inborn traits subconsciously affects all your behavior. Okay, so it is your temperament that makes you either outgoing or that's what I don't know if you guys have heard the word of extroverts and introverts. Have you guys heard the word before? Yes. Extroverts are the outgoing ones. Introverts are the ones that hold, they are always in their shell. They always go back to their shell. Okay. So today I am going to talk about 4 temperaments based on what the Tim LaHaye guy worked on. Okay. So there are 4 basic temperaments. Okay. And I will put the slide here. So we have the sanguines, so you can see them. What do you see about the sanguines? Can anybody tell me anything about the sanguines that they see? From that picture you see.
I guess they are expressive.
Yes, and they love to have fun, talk to people. Exactly. Okay. And choleric, what do you think? Can you guess? Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about them. All right, when I start explaining in detail. So maybe just have this picture in your mind, okay, when I start explaining their attributes, all right? So basically, there are other psychologists or other people that have tried to categorize them into different things. I mean, if you've heard before, maybe not, or maybe it's your first time, there's this, or there's some people say the D type, the I type, the S type, the C type, all right? Other people use different things to categorize them, but I just choose to use this particular guy's category, the way he categorized it. I just choose to use that one. So we have the sanguine. The sanguine, we have the phlegmatic, the choleric, and the melancholic. And these names were gotten from the body fluid type. Okay. So these names were gotten from the body fluid type. So welcome, Omane. You guys okay? Omane, are you guys okay? Are you guys still trying to go in? Are you guys okay? I guess they're still trying to settle in. All right. So those names, the sanguine, the phlegmatic, and the choleric and the melancholic, were gotten from the different body fluids on the body fluids, we call them humors. Okay. So the sanguine is the name or whatever is related to the blood fluid. The phlegmatic, okay, sorry, right here. The phlegmatic is, I just wanted to let these people see what we're talking about. Amon, are you settled in? Amon. Are you, oh, you guys are typing on the chat board, and I'm going to see what you guys are saying on the chat board. Bear with me here. Yes, you're here, you can hear me, but you can't speak. You're having a problem with your microphone. Okay, no worries, you can keep using the chat board, and I think I'm going to draw it somewhere here, down here, so that I can see when somebody's. So I brought this thing here just to let you know what we're talking about, leadership. That's what we're talking about today. We're talking about what leadership is, and we talked about what leadership is not. So you can just quickly look at this, and that will give an idea of some of the attributes of a leader. Okay, so what leaders do, or what leadership is about. That's why I put this thing here. All right, so now we talked about for you to be an effective leader, you need to know the people. We talked about leader. Right now we're talking about leadership dynamics and group dynamics. All right. So effective leaders often have to know who they are, the people in their team are, for them to be able to effectively lead them. Okay. So now, based on knowing people, the group dynamics, because in group dynamics is about studying the different people and how different people respond or relate in a team. Okay, so for you to be able to know those people, we're talking about temperaments, the different temperaments human beings have. And now we chose to use these 4 temperaments, and that's why we have this on the screen. So just to bring you guys up to date, amon. Okay, so we have the choleric, the sanguine, the phlegmatic, and the melancholy. So you can categorize every human being under this 4 category. That's what Tim LaHaye chose to do. Okay. So now, what are the characteristics of the sanguine? Okay, and I am going to, yes, so that's the sparky sanguine. Okay, and like the picture that we saw earlier on, very, very extrovertish. They are cheerful, they're curious, very creative, optimistic. At the end of this, I'm going to send you a link right here, and you guys are going to do your temperament test, and we're going to see what temperament you belong to. Okay, so start listening, so that you might find yourself. Just a note to let you know that nobody is just only one temperament. So in as much as it's been categorized into 4 groups, there could be a mixture. So most of the time there is a mixture of people. So you could be a sanguine, so you can have extrovertish ability and also have some introvertish ability. Most people oftentimes might have 60 or 40% of 2 temperament types. So might even have 3 temperament types all combined together in them. All right, so that's why you need to understand the people that you are leading. Okay, so the sparky, they call them sparky because they, sparky live. Once they come into the room, everybody knows that they are here. They are very, very cheerful. They're always the life of the party. Okay, they are curious, they are creative, they are optimistic, very energetic, they are spontaneous, they are quite impulsive, assertive, and they are goal oriented. They are warm, they are buoyant, they are lively, and often love fun. That is why they're always the fun of the party. They always love to go to parties because they love to have fun. They are usually receptive by nature and always very expressive and always want to express themselves. They love to enjoy themselves, and that's why they're always going to party. And some of their strength is that they love life. They are compassionate. Okay, they are very optimistic, always believing that something good is, always believing good about things, about the future and all that. They are friendly. Some of their weaknesses, like every human being has a weakness and a strength. That is why in a relationship, it's expedient that you know the weaknesses and the strengths of the people that you're in a relationship with. So some of the weaknesses of this sanguine people are, they are restless. They're always wanting to move to one place or the other. They cannot stay in a place for a long while. They are quite undisciplined, all right? And they are egotistical and quite emotional. They often make good salespeople, of course, because they like to talk, they like to communicate and meet with people. They make good salespeople. And they are great actors as well. They are able to act properly, great entertainers, of course. And oftentimes they make great preachers and evangelists, those that love to share God's word. Then the next group of people, the rocky choleric. Okay, another group of extroverts. So now, based on the four temperaments, the sanguine, the choleric, the phlegmatic, and the melancholy, the rocky choleric and the sanguines are the extroverts, while the melancholy and the phlegmatics are the introverts. That's how they decide to classify them. So what are the characteristics you look for when you see somebody like, oh, this person is a choleric or this person has a choleric tendency? Remember, it's going to be in mixture with other temperaments as well, but then they are predominantly, in other words, it could be 55% or 60%, one. That's why we say, okay, this person is an extrovert, a choleric. Why? Because 60% of the attributes fall into this category, though they have 10 or 20% of other temperaments as well. So the choleric, they are practical and they are quite successful people in everything they do. They are independent. Submission can be quite a challenge for them. They are goal-oriented and love to achieve goals. They are quite analytical. They are logical, decisive. They are able to make good decisions. They are quite competent and they are tough-minded. They are hot, they are quick, they are active, they are strong-willed, quite opinionated. They love to do their own things, and they find it easy to make decisions. So in a company, if a decision needs to be made in a company to move the organization forward, they are quick to make that decision because they can think on their toes. And they thrive on activities they always like doing, always wanting to do. So if you have somebody in your team that always like doing things, and that person might likely be a choleric. Okay, and they're not afraid. They're not afraid by challenges. They're not afraid by difficult situations. They like to take it on. Okay, and because of their determination, they often succeed in projects that ordinary people would have failed in. All right, so because of their attribute, their determination, they don't want to fail, they often succeed. They are born leaders. Most leaders are choleric. Most leaders that have achieved a lot are choleric. And they have an emotional nature, though not as developed as that of the sanguine. They don't really sympathize with people. That's why sometimes they appear to be shrewd or appear to be cruel, because the empathy is not really a part of their nature like that, except it has been worked on or transformation takes place in their lives. That's when empathy comes in mind. And they have a well-organized mind. They are quite detailed, quite analytical, and sometimes details bore them because they want to just go on and achieve that which they want to achieve. Okay, so what are some of their strengths? They are strong-willed, they are self-disciplined, they are practical, they are born leaders, they are quite optimistic like the sanguine. Okay, and what are their weaknesses? They are hot tempered, so they get angry easily. They are cruel, okay, because they're not empathetic. So they are cruel because all they care about is achieving their goal. They are quite bossy, and they are self-sufficient. So if you see any of your friends or anybody in your team with such characteristics, you know, okay, this is the kind of person they are. So oftentimes they are leaders. They like careers that involve leadership, careers that involve motivation. As I'm saying this, you're knowing about it, but also know about yourself, okay? So it's also good for a leader to know yourself and know other people. That way, if you know yourself, you know the people you're leading, it helps it helps make for effective leadership, okay? So I've just talked briefly about choleric. So we are going to be talking about the next group of people, and we call them the introverts, okay? And that's the melancholy. So melancholies are loyal. So if you see people in your friends, if they are loyal, or people in your team, they are loyal, they are mostly melancholics. They are very careful. very careful to me. Have you ever seen people that before they make friends with you, they stay and watch and watch and watch, like they're suspicious about everybody. Before they go into something, they have to watch and be very careful to make sure that they don't get themselves burnt or hurt. They are quite traditional. They are respectful. They are calm. They are quite confident, because oftentimes most of them are very smart. They are orderly. They are persistent. They don't give up easily when they want to do something, and they are patient. All right. So I think they are the richest of the temperament, because they have so many great qualities, great attributes, melancholies, and they are perfectionists. They tend, maybe because of the great attributes that they do have, they have more than other people. They are quite analytical. They are gifted. They are gifted in so many ways, and they are self-sacrificing. They think about other people, and they also have a very sensitive, emotional nature. Okay, and most of the time they're moody. They give into mood swings, but they are very, very faithful. If you have a friend who's in melancholy, that friend is going to be faithful to you. They are very, very faithful. Unlike the sanguine, if you have a friend that is sanguine is all over the place because they're always jumping from one people to the other. It's very hard for them to be faithful to you. Why? Because they're always meeting everybody, friends to everybody. But because sanguines are very careful to make their friends, they are not always everywhere with people. Once they become your friend, they are very, very faithful, very, very faithful friends. You can depend on them, of course. They're very, very dependable. And so what are some of their strengths? They are sensitive. They are perfectionists. They are faithful, like we've said. And some of their weaknesses is that they are suspicious. And that they are oversensitive, and they are pessimistic. So they often don't look at the best in life, always looking at, the worst in life, the worst in everything. And they're always moody. So most of the world's greatest composers, artists, musicians, inventors, philosophers, theoreticians, theologians, scientists, and dedicated educators have been predominantly melancholy. Okay, and the last one we are going to look at is the phlegmatic. Okay, so we call them the phlegmatic is another group of introverts. So they are unassuming, agreeable, because they don't like problem. Whatever, they just say yes to you, just to make sure you just get off their neck. They are intuitive. They are imaginative. They are very empathetic. They are warm. They are cooperative. They can easily trust. They are considerate, but the problem because they are of their calm, cool nature, they are slow and they are easygoing. Nothing bothers them in life, even if it's like there's so much meeting deadline, school deadline, and like, I don't care. They don't really care about a lot of things, and yeah, they're just easygoing. And funny enough, sometimes life works well out for them the way they are. So they are a well-balanced temperament. They have well-balanced attributes. And they seldom explode. They seldom get angry because of their nature, because of their cool and calm nature. They take things lightly, and they are usually kind-hearted and very, very sympathetic. Though sometimes they don't really show their true feelings. They have a retentive mind. They are quite very smart. And but it's difficult for them to be motivated beyond their daily routine because they're so easygoing. You're going to have to take a lot as a leader to motivate them. You have to really, really work hard to motivate them to come out of their shell and do that what you want them to do. They are very gifted, very smart. They can really do that, but you have to motivate. Oftentimes, they don't want to do it. So as a leader, if you have a phlegmatic in your team, you have to really work extra hard to be able to motivate and inspire them to come out of their shell and do what you need them to do. Okay, and they are very meticulous. They are witty. Some of their strengths is that they are dependable, efficient, very, very efficient, calm. Some of their weaknesses is that they are so slow. They can take a long time to do something. They can be quite lazy, which is not a good thing because they're easygoing. They can be quite lazy. Things that ordinarily they're supposed to do, they won't even bother doing it. They can be selfish sometimes, and they can be quite stubborn, even in their quiet, introvertish nature. Some of the careers that oftentimes they find themselves doing are foremen, supervisors, managers, educators as well. Because of their they are quite diplomatic and unaggressive. They're able to work well with people. Of course, because of their easygoing nature, they're able to work well with people. They are well organized, very, very organized. They don't come to a meeting unprepared. They don't even come late. They're always on time. You try to always be on time. And they work well under pressure, and you can depend on them to deliver for the team that which they are supposed to deliver. So those are the 4 characteristics of the different people. So having said that, I'm going to give you a link so that you're going to do a temperament test, and we're going to find out what you are. Can anybody tell me if there's any friend of theirs that they can find in this temperament? Is there for any friend of yours that comes to mind now that we've talked about it?
I think the last one kind of reminds me of me.
Yeah, the phlegmatic. You have a friend like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Aurel? Do you see any of your friends there?
Yeah, the melancholic.
Melancholic?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Awesome. What about you, Amona? Do you find any of your friends there? Oh, yeah, because they can't talk. You can type on the chat board. And I'm trying to get the link here. I want to test it. Okay, I think I'm going to stop screen sharing. I am going to stop screen sharing. You know, actually, before I do that, let me. Okay. I don't think you're seeing the screen. I just want to make sure that the link I'm giving you works first before I put it in a chat board. Yes, okay, excellent. So on the chat board, I am putting a link. I want you to click on that link. Yes, no. Oh, one of your friends is a phlegmatic, yeah? Okay, Amua, thanks for responding. I am going to put this on the link. Why am I not? Okay, let's do this. Copy. So we are going to find out what we are now. What's going on with my chat? Okay, I think I'm going to stop sharing because my chat is not working. Try it one more time. No, it's not. Why is it not copying and paste? Bear with me. Copy. Try it one more time. No, it's not. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Maybe that's what's working, what's affecting it. Okay, so let's see if I can. Yes, I think that was what happened. All right, so please click on the link. So when you click on the link, and where does it say? So there are 4 questions. It just gives you an idea. Actually, not 4 questions. There are 8 questions. And once you're done, I'd like you to type on the chat what it says you are. Okay, with that, I think I'm going to stop recording. I will stop this recording.